Tom Ross now from TalkSport. So.
Hi Sam.
Hi Tom.
Over 1,000 games as a manager. You know how fragile this business is better than anybody.
Yes.
What on earth makes you want to come back into it?
I often ask that question myself. But I missed it so much. There's times when I've thought, why am I doing this? There's times when I've gone into a new club and said, I've made the wrong decision. But deep down inside of me, it's about striving for success. Now that success in football terms is not very real to the outside world if you save a football club from relegation. But to everybody at the football club, it feels great. You feel that sensation about you've done a great job, you're appreciated for what you've done, and you try and move on and make that team better. It's that thrill of, trying to get a team to get out the pitch and win.
There's been a few mentions today already about, you've saved clubs from relegation, and Albion have called you in because they're in trouble.
Yeah.
Does that get you a little bit when teams call you when they're in trouble?
Well, it's a part of the course now, isn't it? Like, so I think that most managers get in when the team that they're going into is deemed as a struggle. So I mean, even Maurizio Pochettino got sacked at Tottenham for what seemed a bizarre decision at the time. Having achieved what he'd achieved, and then all of a sudden, within 3 months, he's gone. Shows that you're only as good as your last season, and the new season coming up means you must get results as quick as you can, otherwise it'll be your turn all over again. I've always faced the fact that I can accept the sack if I deserve it, and I'm very bitter if I get the sack when I think I don't deserve it. And more often than not, in fact, nearly all the time I've got the sack, I haven't deserved it. But I've had to live with that and learn to move on from that. And I've had to come back and I think proven all those people that have sacked me that they did the wrong thing. That's my own personal desires. My desires for West Brom is to get them out in the field playing and trying as hard as they can and showing the sort of determination on a regular basis they showed at Manchester City on Tuesday night.
It looks like a really tough job already this season. Is that the sort of challenge you relish?
Well, I must relish it. Otherwise, there's no point in me coming back to do it. I mean, I really have got all the experience and all the knowledge and all the hopefully the backroom staff I need to provide all the information that needs to be given and implanted in the players' minds to sometimes think a little bit differently to what they think they are now, and to quickly understand them as people and work from a psychological point of view on building up their confidence and making them feel like they're going to go out and win. If I can get to that level as quickly as possible and make them feel like they were going to go out and win, instead of at the moment making them fearful of going out to play. And I think that's where they are at the moment. I've got to try and change that dynamic.
So how important is that to you as a manager, the mental strength of your players?
Oh, it's everything. I mean, to be able to cope with the pressure they're under is one of the things that we have to challenge and we have to help them with. Because if they break down mentally, then they will never be able to achieve the sort of performances you need to get results in the Premier League. And that will obviously show in their physical performance. Because there's nothing worse than mental fatigue. It's much worse than any physical fatigue you want to suffer.
January's on the way, it's not far away. How long does it take you to assess a squad?
Well, me and Sammy are very good on our past experiences. So I would say that before we have to, because of the window ending in January, we have to make our assessments no later than the second week in January, and have a chat then about what might be. And then first thing would be to find our recruitment department, both from a technical point of view and from a scouting point of view, and finding out truly what's available between now and the window. So it really starts as soon as possible behind the scenes to find out if there are players available, where are they, who are they good enough for West Brom, and most importantly, can we get them?
Luke's made it clear they'll do everything they can to assist you
Absolutely.
in this January window. Obviously, you don't know what you need yet, but how important is that relationship between you two?
It's critical. It's critical, that relationship, because if that fails, and it has failed at clubs and before, because I haven't challenged. Well, challenged is the wrong word. I haven't had that discussion. I've just taken the job thinking it's going to be all right, and it hasn't been. So that was very important to me, that if I was going to go in, that the most important people would be me, Luke and Ken, because we're the ones who are going to have to make the big decisions, because we're at the head of our departments, if you like. So, and we then support the people under us and try and get them to work better and work more successfully.
There's been lots of labels, Sam, about long ball and all that sort of stuff. Do you think you've ever had the right amount of credit for the successes you've had?
I don't know. I don't know whether that's relevant. All I know is that my success comes from about the affection of players that have worked with me in the past, who have played for me as a manager, coaches, medical staff, physios, analysts, board members, owners. So, you know, they've appreciated where I've been, certainly more often than not, about the job that I've done. So that's more about what I think. Fans will make their own mind up or be persuaded by other people that this is happening, when sometimes in reality it's not. So those questions are asked and said on no real evidence, but there it is. You know what it's like when it throws, it sticks, and you can't get rid of it.
I know you've enjoyed working at TalkSport over the last couple of years.
I have, yes, been absolutely brilliant, yeah.
But you seem not just glad, but you seem excited about this appointment. I
am, you know, and of course I had some very exciting co-commentaries coming up for TalkSport over the Christmas and New Year that I was looking forward to doing, because that was going to get me out of the house and get me sat at the football match to commentate on. Now it's even better. Now I can stand there and try and control what's happening on the football pitch. So I'm very happy about that.
Just finally, the Dudley lad, and there's been talk already about the Wolves thing, but I know you were a great admirer of people like Jeff Astle and Tony Brown, Bomber Brown. You were a big...
Well, I believe Tony's only down the road from the training ground.
Opposite the training ground.
So, I mean, when we get settled in, I'll be absolutely... And hopefully that COVID is not as restrictive as it is now. So without breaking COVID rules, I could actually invite him in for a cup of tea and talk about the old days.
I spoke to him this morning. He'd be glad to get out of the house as well.
I bet he would.
Trust me. And just finally, a message for Albion supporters then.
Well, all I can say is that me, Sammy, the rest of the boys will be giving everything we've possibly got. And hopefully we can achieve what me and Sammy have managed to achieve elsewhere by helping West Bromwich Albion be in the Premier League next season. And I would like to wish all the Albion fans a Merry Christmas and hopefully a Happy New Year, particularly because the Baggies have started winning.
Good luck. Good luck, sir.
Hi there, Sam.
Have you found a question nobody's asked yet?
Yeah.
Have you got one?
I'll try. You've talked a bit about the fact you've been out of the game more than 2.5 years.
Yes.
What do you reckon the pros and the cons are of that period out of the game?
I think the pros and cons are that you realise how much pressure you were under while you're working in that job. When you're working in the job, you feel the nerves, you feel the pressure, but you don't actually realise how much that is until you're actually waking up without it. But then there's a period of time of almost like withdrawal, where it's like asking you to get back, get up, get out. You should be at a football club now, you should be working with the players, you should be on the pitch, you should be doing the press, you should be handling the challenges you've been doing for years and years and years. And so it goes from making all those decisions on a daily basis to zero when you get home, and the only thing you've got to decide on is what you're having for your lunch what you're having for your tea, instead of deciding on what you're going to do in your training session, who you're going to play, who you're playing against next week. So it's a difficult period to readjust to. And often a lot of managers have said to me that when you find that you've been out for 2 years or more, you won't want to go back. You'll find out there's life after football. That's never happened to me. So that's why I'm here.
So it's in your blood. The Premier League moves on in that 2.5 years. How important has it been that you've been watching games, that your love of football clearly is undimmed? Because it's always interesting to see how the game has moved on in the time you've been away.
I think the game has moved on in some good ways, but I also think the game has moved on in some really negative ways. You know, I think that what we've done in changing the rules and changing so many rules has brought so much negativity into our world of football that it's made it more harmful than made it more entertaining. So that really needs to be addressed. Unfortunately, us as managers and players and coaches cannot address that. That can only be addressed by the FA, by FIFA, or even UEFA. But they need a serious look at the mess that it is at the minute for me. I think that VAR is right, but I think that what's happening with the rule changes has made it more difficult for referees to come to the right decision, even with VAR now. So that's caused huge amount of headache for nearly every manager I've had sympathy for watching when those situations are happening or gone against them. The other side of that is everybody's trying to get out and score and entertain. So I think we're seeing more opportunities and more goals than we've seen for a long time, and we've seen more shock results. Now, I don't know whether that is by the fact there's no fans in the stadium. There's certainly a big problem about no fans in this stadium about home results. So that has changed the game. The pandemic and COVID having no fans shows you how much we need our own fans to get back to having a strong home record. So there's been some positive changing, but there's also been some negatives, which, you know, I find really sad when we're so close. We have the best league in the world, and we know we've got the best league in the world because we sell it to more countries in the world than anybody else can sell their football. So let's improve that situation. Let's not have all the controversy that lies around VAR or what decision should or shouldn't be. Let's try and get that more and more consistent, and it will help us all. And it was, more importantly, will help the referees.
Obviously, on Sunday for your first game, it's a real shame there's no crowd. We all miss that from football. But for you standing on the touchline in your first joust with the fourth official or with Dean Smith in the opposition dugout, you're going to feel like you're getting your fingernails dirty.
Yeah, but the fourth official can't get more than 2 meters from me, so I can't go more than 2 meters from him. Well, with inexperience and as time goes on, hopefully I am certainly a lot calmer. Certainly, I will hopefully be getting the right information in my earpiece from the people who are doing our analysis of the game to show the players after, so they can give us some pointers in what's happening, what's going. So if it is an offside, it is an offside. If it isn't an offside, it's an offside, and we can discuss that after, because obviously the first thing that will be asked when I walk into the press conference would be, what do you think about that decision? What do you think the referee should have done there? And then obviously it was a great game, hopefully, and we managed to win, or, you know, so we face all that straight after a game. So we have to be very ready for the type of questions you might want to ask, because you all know if we lose our cool, how much you enjoy it. So we've got to try and keep our cool and answer in the right way. And of course, not get into trouble with the FA, because it costs you money.
Finally from me, Sam, what do you make? You'll have seen so many of the games on TV. What do you make of the raw materials that you've got in this squad with the battle that you now face?
Well, I think that there's small changes, and the small changes will make all the difference. For instance, I don't want to be critical of the players, but at the end of the day, I watched the Newcastle game, but it was just a small difference on the cross that could have been stopped. It was only about shutting down on his right foot. He only had to be a metre or so closer to him. He wouldn't have got that crossing. And then obviously You all know how good he is at it because he scored 26 goals here. Whatever you do, you don't let him get between you. And that's what happened. And that was another precious point lost. So it's just those small incidents that is the difference between the Championship and the Premier League. They will punish you in the Premier League. A lot of the times you get away with this in the Championship.